Hello. So, for our interaction design project, we chose to do a 3D visualization comparing pollution data and housing data. We chose this project to improve government transparency and the data that they provide publicly. So this is a bit of a proof of concept, and we'd like to extend this in the future, but currently it's showing the difference between pollution in 6 constituencies in Bristol and the housing price for those constituencies, or the average housing price over the past 12 months. You can interact with this tool and you can view each of the 12 months and 3 different types of pollution data, and it also moves around. And we hope that this will give or provide a better form of engagement, and we hope that it will be shared in the future and increase government data transparency. And this can also be extended further to show different sets of data rather than the current data that's shown. Yeah, that's basically it.
Alright, so this is our interaction design project for semester 2. We created educational content for children aged 8 to 10 about the importance of honeybees. So what we did is we did interviews of real-life beekeepers. The beekeeper, Jeff Davey, who manages the bees at UWE, took us to see his hives, and we visited them. And also we did some literature review to create content for kids. And then what we did is we created this simulation, which Justin will talk about.
Okay, so for our final prototype, we produced 2 components, the first of which is an InVision app, and the second of which is a Unity 2D program. So for this program, the aim of the game is to achieve as many hearts as possible. So this is achieved through 3 different stimuli that can be controlled. So the first of which is temperature. So if the temperature is too hot, the bees disappear. As the temperature gets lower, the queen bee will provide tweets, and in this case it says time to prepare for winter. And then if it gets too cold at winter, there's a visual cue to show this. So the idea is that the Key Stage 2 curriculum has several different aspects that are applied to our simulation, and one of these includes like local area and habitat. So we included a slider for local flower levels. So the more flowers there are in the area, it increases the hearts, and if there aren't any flowers, then the kids understand that the bees need flowers in the local area. And then in addition to that, we also have pesticides. So as pesticides increase, the bees also are affected. The final component consists of a swarm button, which simply shows the bees swarming, which will be done throughout the year. So the second component of our project is this data recording app, and this was created so that the students could record data about local or nearby hives that would directly correlate to our simulation. So options include basic readings that the beekeeper would actually take. So this includes aspects such as, is the queen bee present, is brood present, and what mood the bees are in. So we had to take the information and make sure it was appropriate for Key Stage 2 students to use, but it's also information that real beekeepers would also record, so it could be used by them as well. The history aspect allows you to look back at previous recorded details, so that the hive health can be calculated and used in the simulation.
Hi, I'm Will Lifetime, and we work closely with St Peter's Hospice in Bristol, which is a charity that works at the end of life care. Our initial idea was to create an online memory box where families could store photos, videos and other media type relating to their loved one. Eventually we thought that something more tangible would be better, so we created a physical memory box. The physical memory box contains an RFID scanner and an area then where the family can put items relating to the loved one, and they can attach a tag. When the tag is placed against the RFID scanner, the media relating to that tag will then play on the display that's connected to. So as you can see here, it's a family video that is being played. It can be any media type, images, video, photos. But yeah, it's basically a way of memorialising their loved ones through physical objects along with technology.
So we chose to work with the organisation of disability. So we worked with a charity called Remap, and Remap basically design and build custom equipment for disabled people that gives them more freedom and independence. So we had a meeting with Remap, and we found out that they were lacking in volunteers. All the staff were retired volunteers, so that meant because they're retired, there may have been delays in production due to being only a small amount of staff. Also, being retired volunteers, there's a lack in younger minds. So this meant there was no room for modern thinking, modern technologies. So our aim of this project was to solve these two problems, and by doing this we made Rematch.
So I'll be showing you my prototype. So if you're a new user, you can choose either you want to help or you can choose I want to help. For example, if I'm an engineer, I can choose I want to help. So these are the essential informations needed to create my profile. And I can also select like the area of interest of the type of different clients cases. And I can also choose the area of my expertise, like if I'm an engineer. And I can also choose like the categories of the type of client's problems. For example, there's vision loss, broken arms, or I can even type like memory loss. So I can just submit, and I can get linked with a client who has memory loss. So these are the essential information about the client. I can look at his problems. I can also look at his design needs. If I have any questions, I can do instant messaging with the client. Down here shows the people who got matched with Eric as well. So these are the people who I will do collaboration with as part of the whole prototype idea, to collaborate with other people to build a project for this client. So for example, if I'm a carer and I'm a carer of the disabled person, and I click I need help, it also prompts me to fill up the essential information needed. And so these are the categories that I can choose related to my condition. For example, if I have broken arms, and I can type out my problems, and I will get matched with a volunteer. So I can basically look at the volunteer's background, his skill set, and if I have any queries, I can message him as well. So conclusion is we built this prototype is to increase Remap's volunteer base with younger minds, and also to increase collaboration between volunteers to create better solutions for the clients.
Okay, so this is our Pick-a-Boob installation. We designed this installation as a prototype to demonstrate how we could use a physical breast model to help inform young people about breast cancer, and also to raise awareness about breast cancer. We'd like to do this in affiliation with the Pink Week group, which is something which runs with students at UE, where they go running together for breast cancer awareness. So what the prototype does, you walk up to it, have some speakers here. We don't have demonstrated right now, but we've got an audio stream which we could play. You go up to it, as soon as you feel it, you get an audio stream, and in that audio stream it explains to you how you can do a self-examination. So inside of this model there's several abnormalities which are like breast cancer tumours. So you feel it, find the tumour, and then when you find it, it senses that you found the tumour, and it gives you some information about what to do next after, if you do find an abnormality when you're self-checking. So you find the abnormality, plays a sound to kind of tell you that you found it and give you some advice, inform you about the topic, and then it also prints out this ticket. So what we propose is that you'd have a series of these installations around the UE campus, each with a different body part, so it could be one for men, one for women, and then when they've collected all the cards, we're using gamification, so we give them a treasure hunt and they collect all the cards, and from that they can go to the website. So we built this web page which is like more information for young people about breast cancer, links them to social media, and also gives them the prize when they've collected up all the different tokens. Well, we've got different types of symptoms on there that you might be able to find. those are the Know Your Lemons. It's part of the Pink Week campaign. Got more about Pink Week, which we're affiliated with, and we've got the kind of documentation of the gamification and the treasure hunt that was going on around the campus. So the main key points of the exhibit installation are multi-sensory experience, where you can touch, you've got sound coming back at you, you can read, and then you've got the website, so you've got like these different avenues of engagement. We've got targeting on young people, so young men and women, students, people who might not know about this sort of stuff, know about breast cancer, and we're keeping it light-hearted.
Hi, I'm Kate, and this is the Faces of Amnesty. So we were tasked with researching and creating a prototype system for an organisation in response to an identified design problem. We chose Amnesty International, a movement of more than 7.5 million people in more than 150 countries, campaigning to fight human rights abuse. Bristol is well known for its political advocates and fundraising campaigns, and for this reason we couldn't have chosen a more relevant and admirable campaign to design for than Amnesty.
The Faces of Amnesty is an interactive street projection demonstration designed to educate the people of Bristol and raise awareness of Amnesty's accomplishments. The project aims to inspire members of the public to join Amnesty's People Power movement by highlighting their accomplishments and emphasising that we are all collectively responsible in the fight for our human rights. The Faces of Amnesty projection consists of 4 cubes, as you can see here. Cube 1 will display Amnesty International to show affiliation with the organisation. Cube 2 will display positive statements, for example, 55,000 prisoners of conscience freed since 1961. Cube 3 displays selfies taken by members of the public. Cube 3 displays selfies taken by members of the public, transformed into a face mosaic, for example, made up of the 55,000. Cube 4 will display #Faces of Amnesty to raise awareness, educate and reach as many people as possible.
So, in the beginning stages of the project, we did loads of research, really in depth. It was all technological, contextualising Amnesty. We wanted to figure out exactly who they were, what they do and how they do it. We also took part in some ethnographic research at the Bear Pit. We noticed the political undertones and sort of feeling of centrality, and there was lots of human interactions going on. People were walking through the Bear Pit at a slow pace, looking around them, looking at the graffiti. So we thought our hypothesis was that if we brought the street demonstration to the Bear Pit, users are probably more likely to stop and look at it. This led to our design of the cubes after this ethnographic research, because from a previous project we learned that people are attracted to unfamiliar objects, hence the random interface. So the idea is, in a user scenario, we'd be taking place in the Bear Pit, and a user might come along and be like, "Oh, what is this unfamiliar object? Oh, it's a face." And this is when a volunteer would come up with a leaflet and say, "Oh, hey, do you want to see how your face can get involved in the Amnesty People Power movement?" They'd be like, "Yeah." So another volunteer gets them to take their selfie on our iPad, upload it to the cube in the face mosaic, and they see their face mosaic overlay. So this is meant to emphasise the symbolisation of one's involvement in the People Power movement being as strong as many, and how if we all stand together we can make positive achievements together via Amnesty. And then at the bottom we've got #Faces of Amnesty, so that they can upload their face mosaic to Twitter and find it later, meaning they'll follow up on Amnesty, generating awareness in a fun and personalised way. So that's the Face of Amnesty. We had a really fun time over the last 4 months designing it, and we're going to give them a technical requirements list so that they can adopt the project in the future if they wanted to. Thanks for listening.
Okay, cool. So we're working with Acorn, who get in the way when landlords get a bit shady. When the tenant doesn't know what to do, Acorn steps in and helps them out with legal stuff. What we found was that actually nobody knows who Acorn are at the moment. So we actually found data that's open to the public from a county court, like evictions lists. And so we take that data and we live feed it into this application here for all the staff of Acorn, with like 2 touches of a button that fires off letters to an entire postcode. So we've printed one of them out here, and they follow this unique address in the letter. So once they've actually followed the link in the letter, they can put in their additional details, send that off, and then that actually feeds into live data that can then be read by Acorn themselves. So that data is sent off live to Acorn, who then can get in contact with them via email or messages or whatever. Yeah. So we did this because it's a cheap and an effective way of advertising to people who really need you without wasting money on traditional methods of advertising, which are wasteful. And yeah.
Smart Booth is a project that focuses on helping homeless people access information. So for our project, we were going to work with the Albert Kennedy Trust, who support the LGBT youth who are in crisis, who need to leave home and who need support.
So we started by looking into AKT organisation to see what services they support for LGBT youth, and then we carried out a telephone interview with the Digital Services and Innovative Manager of AKT, and that helped us define the area that we could focus on and refine idea. So for example, we decided to focus on information access because we actually found out that a lot of homeless people don't have access to phones, or even if they do, they don't have anywhere to charge.
During our research process, we came up with several ideas that we could use to solve the problem of information access. We finally settled on creating an integrated public information system, which would be in the old phone booths we decided to use the phone booths because they are connected to infrastructure that we would need to create the information system, such as the telephone grid, etc. We had concluded that privacy was one of the main issues for our users. The best way to access the information was for the users to have an RFID tag that was non-traceable and completely private.
So for our prototype, we went through several iterations of our design process. We started off by mapping out the journey that we thought the user was going to take and turned these into paper prototypes. When we'd done this, we created user testing scenarios and got people to act these out, talking through what they were doing and critiquing our work. So after we got the feedback, we took this into account and made a digital prototype and then ran the user testing again, each time gaining more insights into what the users needed and how our system worked. So to use the system, the user gets an RFID band that gives them access. So they can scan this and they're able to find hostels, find food, charge their phone or send a message. So if they click on charge phone, they scan the band again to make sure that it's the person who has access to the system using it. The screen shows that box 6 is already taken, so they can pick another one. The box will then open. They can put in their phone, and this will now be charging. When they come back later, they scan the band again, pick up their phone, scan the band, and they can collect their phone.
My name's Jane Berry. I'm Head of Department Computer Science and Creative Technologies. I've just called in to look at the show, and I have to say I'm absolutely blown away by the standard of work, the level of thought that's gone into not just the technology, which is a fantastic display of technical expertise, but the extent to which these students have taken that technology to deliver really impressive solutions to not problems, but issues that will ultimately perhaps lead to enhancements of people's experience of the world, and that's what technology should be doing. It should be making the world better, and this is such a brilliant example of how that can be. So.